think there's a great distinction, and both need to be addressed.
Right.
Um, if it's accessible but not user friendly, I'm not likely to use it. I can still get things done, and it does work by the book, but it may not be the most pleasant experience. And as a
Right.
consumer, I'm as much interested in that. However, as
Right.
somebody who's trying to develop something, they might wish to get the accessibility components solid before they work on the user experience, and that's fair too.
Mhm.
Isn't that in essence? I know they're two distinct things, but is it in essence tied together really tightly? Because if someone's not comfortable using something, it's essentially inaccessible, right?
Well, when I look at accessibility, when you when you use a screen reader to go over a button, does it read the correct label?
Yeah.
Um, when you press that button, does it activate properly, or is there something blocking it accessibility wise? When I'm looking at user experience, I'm looking at how do I feel when I use this?
They need to specify that if it doesn't have inclusion in your, you can't say that. What do you
Yeah, I
think of
think this is somebody not grasping the whole concept.
right?
Somebody in marketing, well, that's a really cool word. Throw that in. You know, we're
Yeah,
inclusive. Well, what does inclusive actually mean to them? Um, People use that word as if it's,
throw it around. Yeah.
yeah, they apply it because it sounds cool in an ad, um, but it sometimes is not where they're at.
Mhm.
And they use the word inclusion and accessible when it's partially accessible and it's partially inclusive. And if one were to ask somebody about that, they say, well, we're working on it. Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. But do you have a timeline? You know, do you have any specific goals that you're attempting to meet?
Mhm.
Well, you're saying you're working on it, or is that just one of those empty kind of platitudes? If they truly are working on it, I applaud them. If they're truly not, I don't think I'll buy from them.
That cares about accessibility, and it's starting a new business or is, knows better to just integrate it and to from the ground up. And then it's much easier. But think about like the businesses that never knew or were not even aware, that needed to be integrated and they're having to learn. So, in some ways, it's our responsibility to help people understand why that's important and
Right. It's
how to
important
do
to be
it.
supportive rather than punitive,
Right, right,
whenever possible. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions to every rule where, a great giant corporation is just being stuck in the mud and stubborn, and they just don't want to. And that's where legislation comes in whichever country we're in, to try to uh, provide counter incentives so that they find a new way to think about this.